This time around, it's the turn of Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. How does it work? What does it do? And as always, what can it do for you? Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome back to the channel. Andy here. So nice to see you again. I really appreciate you stopping by. Well, it's only a few days to go before Christmas, and I thought that this time I would take a look at some of the new features in Microsoft Defender for Cloud App Security. It was recently renamed, and it's also had a few updates as well. So I thought I'll take you through a nice demo and show you how exactly it works. Now, as always, if you've not subscribed to the channel, I'd love you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on any future postings. And as always, I love comments, questions, and any feedback that you have about this or any of my other videos. So, without any more jibber jabber, I think it's time for a demo. Let's take a look. So this is Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, and you can get to it in a couple of ways. You can either get to it through the Compliance Center in Microsoft 365, or you can just go to the portal and type in portal.cloudappsecurity.com. And it takes you this. Now, this is the main dashboard. Now, I'd like to point out, and I'm just going to quickly flip back here, and I'm just going to go into Endpoint Manager. Endpoint Manager, as I've said in a previous video, is the primary tool to manage mobile devices, PCs, and Macs in your working environment. So typically, if you've got on-premises devices, on-premises apps, you would manage these with more traditional technologies. But of course, we're now in the cloud, and this is very much the modern way to manage that. Now, if you've not seen that video, go ahead and I'll put the link in below actually so that you can watch this video afterwards. Now, the key thing about this though is that in this video, I introduce you all about mobile apps, so how to deploy apps to your various different platforms. And the one thing that I would say about this is that although this is really nice, when you deploy an app, let's say to a bring your own device or a user who is using their own device, like an iOS device or an Android device, the problem is you don't typically know what other apps that user is working with. So Defender for Cloud App actually has really kind of four main components to it. One is Discover. So the idea here is to discover all your what we call shadow IT. So these are the apps that you're using that are not managed by your company, so third-party apps. And what this does is CloudApp Discovery provides essentially a catalog here of practically every single app. And as you can see, what it does is it risk scores these apps. So there are literally thousands of apps here. And as if that's not enough, you can also add in your own apps as well. So you can create your own custom apps and you can add in connectors. So there are connectors to third-party platforms such as Google, Amazon, and so on. So one of the key benefits of this is that every app, if I click into this one here for the Microsoft Tech Community, you can see it really gives you a full layout, a full idea of where the company is, who produced the company, where they're based. Also from a security perspective, you can see that this app is pretty darn secure. It's got everything where it should be. It's compliant with all of these different standards. And in terms of legal, again, very, very compliant. Things like ISO 27001, GDPR, and so on. So this wouldn't give me any kind of concern within my environment. And indeed, over here, you can see that we've got a number of actions. So I can either sanction an app to work on my environment, or I got the option to block an app. So if you feel that a particular app is just a little bit risky, then you can block that app if you want to. Now, the first place that we're going to come is, as I said, really 4 nodes here. So the first one is CloudApp Discovery, and this helps you, as I say, discover cloud IT or discover that shadow IT. And more importantly, it will risk score all the apps that it discovers. The second part of this is it also doesn't just look at applications, it looks at users as well. So it looks at how users behave, how apps behave, are there any anomalies? So for example, things like if you've just logged on in London and then 15 minutes later you log on from Durban in South Africa, that's not right. That's impossible travel. That's an example of an anomaly. Now, you can go ahead and you can investigate those users. That could be a sign of identity fraud or somebody's commandeered somebody's network credentials. The other thing that you can also do is you can also create policies, and these policies are created from templates to hunt and search for these potential anomalies. And of course, it will also alert you as an administrator. So without any further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click up here and I'm going to come into the CloudApp Discovery dashboard. So in the CloudApp Discovery dashboard, you can see that we've discovered 290 apps, 1,837 IP addresses, 457 users, and between them they're generating 2.9 gig of traffic. And you can see that that traffic is mainly comprised of, number one is of course cloud storage. That could be things like OneDrive for Business and so on, SharePoint document libraries, webmails, CRM, meetings, and so on. And of course, you can change those filters. What exactly do you want to filter by? You can control all of that. Now, over here, you can see that it gives you a breakdown of that traffic. So it's showing me that 2.9 gig of that traffic, it mostly is pretty good. However, there's a few bits of dark red here that's giving me a little bit of concern. Okay, so I'll come back to that in a moment. Now, scrolling down, you can see it's showing me what are the most popular apps in my environment, along with who are the heaviest users of software. So you can see that we have a number of users here. Also, it's showing you the headquarters of the various app platforms. So again, the majority of them here in this case coming from the United States. Now, I can delve into any user here. So, for example, I could click onto this particular user and it breaks it down, and it's showing me that this particular user he's got 10 apps, and it's showing me when he's busiest, how long he's been on for, and so on. Also here, it's showing me that if I click onto discovered apps, it's showing me these 10 apps that the user has got on his phone. And as you can see, most of them are looking pretty good. But however, as we get down through the list, you can see that the risk score here is dramatically falling away. So you can see here I've got this app called InsideSales.com. So I'm going to click onto this particular app and you can see that it's given it a risk score 3 out of 10. So this is not looking too good. You can also see that this app is being used by a total of 11 users, and also it's talking to 8 IP addresses here. And it shows me I can see all the users here if I want to. Now, I might want to know a little bit more detail about this app. So I can click on the info, and again, you get that details, the security information about the user. And you can see here, other than a trusted certificate, the rest of it is not too good. And also in terms of compliance, I'm a little bit concerned about this. Now, as I mentioned, it's risk management. So this is what risk does this app potentially offer you with your apps themselves. So I can go into CloudApp usage. Again, you can get that breakdown. Has it generated any alerts? What IP addresses is it talking to the user? So this is fantastic. You get a really detailed look at the app itself. Now, just heading back, so one of the things that you can do is I can say, well, you know, what am I going to do about this particular app? Are you going to allow this app, or are you going to block this app? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to have a look at all those concerning apps, and you can see that they've now come up here. So again, I've got an app here called Mega. So let's have a look at Mega, and you can see again it's got a risk score here, how much traffic it's generating, and again you can see, other than really a certificate, some of the compliance features are not so good here. Now, as I mentioned, and as you can see up above here, I can decide, do I want to allow this app, so sanction this app for my users? Do I want to block the app or unsanction the app? And as you can see above here, we have a relatively new feature in Defender for Cloud Apps, and that is you can actually monitor an app as well. And this monitors its performance, and it also monitors the app from a security perspective. So it's looking for any potential anomalies here. Now, in this case, let's just say I'm a little bit concerned about this app. I want to block it. So I'm going to go ahead and I've now blocked that particular app here. All right, so that's the first thing that you can do. You can discover apps, assess their risk, and either sanction them or unsanction them. And that's a really nice feature. Now, if I just click up here, you'll notice that there's three little dots here. If I just click onto that, one of the things that you can also do, by the way, and I'm often asked, is, Andy, can I add my own apps in here? Absolutely. So you can see you can add your own custom apps in here. You can assign the category. You can assign the risk score of this particular app. Okay, and you can also extend the use of the app so that you can use it with things like conditional access app control. So, for example, if employees are outside the company in an unsecure location, then they won't be able to, for example, download files and so on. So that's really nice, the fact that you can go in and you can add in your own custom apps. Now, the other thing that's really nice is the investigation features of 365 and the Defender for Cloud Apps. So in here, I can click into, for example, the activity log. And the activity log gives me a full breakdown of everything that's going on within my organization, and also what every single app is doing. So what the process is, who's doing that process, what they're accessing, the IP address where they're coming from, what platform are they using, operating system, browser, and so on. And again, you can drill into this and you can see whether that login was successful or not successful. Now, up here, you can also select various users as well. So I'm just going to scroll down here, and let's say I've got a user here called Joanna. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Joanna's account, and let's just have a look at her account. And you can see it gives me a complete log of everything that she's doing. So every single process from every single app. So when she logs on, when she downloads a file, whatever she's doing. Now, you can also see here, at the moment, I'm viewing her logs. You can also click into her files here as well. So, for example, I can click into files, and again, I can select that user, and I can choose that same user again, and you can see I can now see Joanna's files. So you could look at her files, and I'd like to point out from this window, by the way, you can't actually open the files because you don't have the rights to do so, but merely you can see the metadata of those files. So for example, if I expand this, you can see it tells me that it's a spreadsheet, tells me that it's this particular user, it was created and last modified. Now, there's no sensitivity labels on this. Now, you might say, hey, hang on a minute, that could be a potentially sensitive spreadsheet. And what you can actually do is you can click on the little ellipse here, and you can apply a sensitivity label here yourself. That's awesome, by the way. All right. So, like I said, you can view the activity log, the users' files, users and accounts. For example, I can click into Joanna, so I can expand this and I can say, hey, I want to see more on this particular user. So again, it will take me to her details. Are there any potential threats relating to this particular user? When she last logged in? What resources she accessed? And so on. Was there any related activity for this user? Any kind of related alerts? And again, you've got that little ellipse here. You can view their files. I can then say, okay, I want to look at their Azure AD account settings. The other thing that you can also do is if you suspect that the user's credentials have been compromised, you can even confirm her compromise here, and you could require either the user to log in again, or you can even suspend that user. That rocks, by the way. All right. So they are some of the things that you can do in here. Now, all of these files, of course, are because this particular user is using Microsoft 365. She's using Azure, let's say. And I'm often asked, what about other platforms? What if you're using third-party platforms? Absolutely. So you can click onto connected apps here, and you can see that she's just using Azure and 365. But you can go ahead and you can select any of these third-party products. So if you want to bring in Salesforce.com, Slack, Workday, whatever it is, you can bring those in, and it will give you complete visibility of everything that the users have got on that platform. That rocks, okay? So that's the investigation. The next one down is, this is targeted towards not just the apps, but it's also targeted towards users as well. And it looks at users' behavior. And this is all driven by AI, artificial intelligence, and also machine learning. And again here, you can see that we've got these app connectors at the moment. So we've got the app connectors here. And what I'm going to do here is that I'm now going to go into control, and you can see that we have a number of policies. Now, out of the box, we've got about 11 or 12 different policies here. Actually, maybe more than that here. And if you actually look at the policies, look at that. It's looking for well-known potential problems. So any kind of anomalies. So is an application behaving as it should be? Is a user behaving as it should be? Identity theft. Things like publicly shared confidential files. Log on from a risky IP address, or from impossible travel. I mentioned that previously. Or you've got a user in the office on a Friday night doing mass downloads. That's not right. So again, here, this is your opportunity to go in and have a look at these different policies. Now, these policies are actually created from templates, and there's a whole bunch of templates here and you can even create your own templates. And by the way, it's not just cloud apps. There are also connectors that you can get that can connect to your organization, and they will completely diagnose all the apps within your company. For example, if you're in hybrid, and it will give you and provide all of that app and intelligence information in here. It's a truly awesome product, by the way. So if I go into policies, for example, as mentioned, you can create your own policies, and we have a number of different categories. So for example, if somebody's accessing something, if somebody's performing a specific activity, an app discovery, so somebody adding new apps, a cloud discovery anomaly detection. An anomaly is where you've got an application that's behaving in a way that it shouldn't behave. So for example, that Android, the 10-pin bowling app, that, hang on a minute, why is it asking for contact information? Why is it asking to activate the microphone, the camera? That's not right, okay? Things like file, so deleting files, creating files. Things like session policies, so log on, log off. So like I said, you can create these different policies from those templates. And you can see I can go into, let's say, one of these policies here, and you can see that it's monitoring all the traffic, and it's categorized under threat protection or threat detection. And you can say, what am I monitoring? So you can customize all of this. And check it out, you can also do an alert. So create an alert, and you can even send that alert as either an email or as a text message. So you can send it to an individual, or this might be, let's say, your support team in Microsoft Teams, for example. And you can set a limit of a number of alerts. Now, I love this. You can actually go to Power Automate and create an automated flow. So check it out. Look, when an alert is generated in MCAS, so let's just go into here. What are you going to do? So I could say, okay, when an alert is generated, what do you want to do? And you can then say, right, let's manage the playbook. So this now takes me over into this area here. And I can now add in a workflow. So I can say, hey, all right, so there's some templates here that will pop up in a second, but there's also some workflows here. So I can say, okay, if an alert is generated in CloudApp for apps, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to notify somebody? Do you want me to shut something down? So you can see here, this is taking me into your flows in Power Automate. And you can see here, this rocks, by the way. So notify somebody. And it's completely automated. So if an incident takes place, you are being proactive. You understand? You're not waiting, or you don't let this potential disaster slip through. Now, the final thing here is in alerts. I can click into alerts here, and any alerts that have been generated, you can see they come in here. So log on from a risky IP address. I could have a look at the alert. It tells me who the user is, the app that they're logging into, and I could now do a little bit of investigation. So I could contact Alan and say, hey, were you in this location? Did you log on at this time? And if this wasn't Alan, you could then say, okay, this account has been potentially compromised. So you can either say this is a true positive and then decide to take action. You can adjust the security policy to fix the issue as well. And of course, you can then do a further investigation in here as well. And if you're using Azure Sentinel, this completely and seamlessly links into all those other tools as well. Also, just mention one thing, you can also activate Microsoft Defender for Identity. And Defender for Identity, you can go into the admin center here. If you go into security in the Microsoft 365 admin center, you can, I'm just going to go in here, just log in. So what I can do is I can go into this admin center here, and if you go into the settings, and this will just take me in a moment. Okay, so here in Defender, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. So I'm just going to completely scroll down here. Let me just shut these down. And I'm going to go into the settings area here. And to enable this, you've got a couple of things. First of all, identities here. So if I click into identity, this is where you can enable Defender for Identity. So typically what this involves is you need to download some agents, and we call them sensors. And so you would deploy a sensor on your domain controller, your Exchange server, and so on. And those sensors, once they are active, they will start monitoring not just apps, but also users as well, based on these policies and templates that you configure. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a truly awesome product. So if you use Intune to manage and deploy your apps and your devices, then Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps is an absolute must to manage not just shadow IT, but also give you the big picture of what's going on in your environment. And it's a fantastic security tool. I hope you enjoyed that demo. And as always, if you did, I love your comments and feedback and any questions that you have. And if you've not subscribed, of course, then go ahead, click on that subscribe button, ring the bell, so you don't miss out on the good stuff in the future. Well, hey, it's just a few days before Christmas, so I want to just reach out and wish you a very happy Christmas and all the best for 2022. I certainly hope things improve for us all this year. All right, so thanks so much for tuning in, and you stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by today. Here's a couple of videos that you may enjoy, and while you're here, go ahead, click on the subscribe button and you won't miss out.